Okay, so hello and welcome to the first Pure Music video blog. We're here today in Plymouth Blues Bar on the Barbican. Thank you very much to the Blues Bar for letting us use their facility. This is a premier night spot in Plymouth for live music. And I'm here today with Russell Sinclair.
Hello.
Hi Russ.
Hello.
Russ has got a new album out and we're here to find out exactly what's going on with the new album and what the future holds for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So firstly, you've recorded the album.
Yep, it's all in the can, so to speak.
And we're at the mixing in stage. How are we getting on with the mixing?
Well, it's good. I've got 2/3 of the album back probably now that I've heard, and it's sounding great. So there's a few that I've yet to hear, but the general vibe of the thing is just spot on. Josiah, who's producing it, he's really got the feel of it down, I think. There's always a few little tweaks here and there, and like, I can make that a bit louder normally from the drummer, but yeah, it's sounding really great. I'm really happy with it. We've managed to capture quite a live sound with the album, I think. A lot of energy in it, which is cool.
It's difficult, isn't it, when you're in the recording studio, because it's quite a dry situation.
Yeah, it can be. You can get sort of sucked into layering stuff up as well.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Which is great, you know. Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot to be said for that. You can make some really awesome sounds. But there's also something to be said, I think, for keeping it quite simple, and especially for the first one. We didn't want to overcomplicate things, didn't want to overproduce things. So we have got a few friends in on the album. Vince Lee and Becca Langsford do. There's some backing vocals, and Vince is playing mandolin and a bit of slide guitar on it, which is, really fills the thing out and makes it really varied, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a bunch of different instruments as well that we wouldn't normally have had. I mean, I used quite a lot of Vince's gear to create different sounds, and a lot of percussion stuff that we put on there afterwards, like shakers and bongos and whatever. On the more Latin-y stuff is it really helps fill it out, I think, when you listen to it, because that sort of stuff, when you play it live, you rely a lot on the groove and the atmosphere, but in a record, you want people to, you need to capture that feeling without there being a live audience, and without people being there in the moment. And imagine somebody listening to it in their car or something. You need to try and fill that space a little bit. But yeah, as I say, I think everybody did really well. The band played really great on the record, and for some of them it was the first time in the studio properly like that, and it was kind of alien to be, laying down bass on top of just a drum track with nobody else in the room, but everybody did really well. The performance on it is spot on, I think. So yeah, in short, happy with it so far. Excellent. I can't wait to hear the finished thing.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Josiah, who's recording. Josiah Manning. Momentum Studios. We'll put all the links to all these bits and pieces of reference on the website for later use, including a list of equipment, guitars, and so forth, because it's quite an interesting list.
It is. There's some
I did have the privilege of spending a couple of hours in the studio with Russ, and some of the equipment laying around was like a toy shop.
Well, yeah, it was great. Some of it was yours.
Yeah, some of it was
of course, yeah. One of it, yeah. But it was great. You got to hear that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it sounded good. And I kind of got the vibe, although it was only yourself on that day, doing the recording, I kind of got the vibe that everybody was still very much involved, because most of the band were in the viewing room, as it were.
I find it really helpful to have people around to bounce off of, and also to try and, you don't feel so out there on your own or whatever when there's people there. You can kind of feel a vibe, and if people are into it, if the song's going well, you can feel that. And equally, if it's not, if something's going wrong, you can feel it through the glass. Even if people aren't saying, change that, or I don't like that, or you're singing out of key. You get the vibe when there's people there. Whereas sometimes when it's just you and the producer, I mean, Josiah's great, but sometimes it can be quite long days. It can get quite taxing by the end of it. I mean, it's still great. I love being in the studio, and I love that sort of creative thing that comes along with it. But yeah, I mean, it feels a bit more fun when everybody's involved, and you certainly get that vibe. I think on a lot of the more fun tunes, like there's a My Oh My on there is a kind of a fun thing. It's sort of 1920s ragtime, but when we were laying down the percussion, it was a full house. There was loads of people in the studio, and we just went mad with it. Rattling cowbells and playing random drums and these tuned block things like coconuts. Great fun. Really good. So yeah, it was a great experience. I think the whole thing.
So how long did it all take you, and how many tracks did you get out of it?
Hard to say, I guess, since it's still going on. But in terms of actually laying it down, it took about 12 days, and the main reason for that was because I had a cold, which set my vocals back by quite a bit, which is, I guess, another reason why we've got so much crazy percussion and stuff on it, because there was a lot of dead days, turn up to do vocals and it wasn't happening, my voice sounded a little bit like it did this morning, but permanently all day and bunged up, hard to breathe and whatever, so that set us back by a little bit, but most of it was fairly rapid. Drums and bass were done in 3 days. But
the guys in the band are professional musicians. So you would expect it.
And Josiah's really pro as well. We spent a day setting up, and that was invaluable. Really worthwhile doing that. Getting the drums sorted out and getting a plan of action and all that. And then just the next 2 days were just bang bang, everything done, and then just a case of us coming over and dancing over the top of it, really, a bit of rhythm guitar, and then solos. The brass was great fun, having those guys in and doing that, layering it all up. But all in, I think we got a lot done in the time it's taken, and the mixes are sounding really fat and full. And again, Josiah's turning it around
I notice he's incredibly busy.
He is, yeah.
He's incredibly busy. Everybody's jumping on, what he's got, really. Because,
he's great. It's a great facility. He's great at what he does.